Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on our Thursday morning. It's a special edition show on a Thursday. So I forgot which one was Thursday's mug. But Kermit's it is. I couldn't remember if it was Daffy or Kermit on Thursdays, but it is Kermit wins. It's good to be green. Coffee is in the house, and football flashback is here. Yes, that was a win. We'll talk about that a little bit in the morning. Our main purpose today is not really that, but we'll get to that as well. We did want to get the word out on foundation we're helping, not in terms of fundraising this time like we do with the 23 foundation, but we do want to get the word out and like help them kind of like spread the word on this thing. I don't know why my colors are all like goofy over here, but let's fix those. And yes sir, that was tough. Watching that was tough because the moment it happened, when you can always tell from players, right? Like his reaction, you knew it was bad because players know when it's just a boo boo, if you will, or if it's something much more, and you knew instantly. Especially, I feel for him because it's the World Cup year, and this is for him definitely his last World Cup. For some of these teams, like some of these players as they age, this is their last opportunity, and it's a huge thing for them. So I know it's bad. I don't know if we found out. We'll find out probably later today with the scans and stuff how bad. But his reaction almost like is an injury reports, right? Like he's telling you how bad it was, like he was crying and everything like that. So it sucks for us, but more than that, I really, really felt for him. I really felt for him. Oh, Bob is in the house. I said Endo. Bob showed up. Good morning, Bob. Man, I do owe you an apology. Now, you won't get this all out, so cherish the moments. But yes, I did go back, and I'm like, dude, am I getting that old that I'm not remembering things? First of all, that's true. I am getting that old that I'm not remembering things. But yeah, like Ando get old. I honestly do not remember Ando getting like I think he said 21 starts. So the chat GPT that everybody using yesterday was correct. And he did put in a good shift. I was really worried seeing him as a right back because I was talking about it yesterday morning that I didn't know if he could play knowing his speed and adjusting it kind of like like how Milner used to. But I thought he did well. It did help that we play really well as a team and he was not on an island over there by himself. But and didn't it feel like the beginning of the second half, after we kind of like really battered them the first half, they came out the first 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know if somebody said in their locker room, damn it, they have Endo as a right back. What are we doing over here? Kind of a deal. And they did start coming from the left a lot more. It felt like they were trying to isolate him, but he held his ground. He did well. That's probably like the biggest downer from that game. Otherwise, I thought it was really good overall, really good performance overall. We created a ton of opportunities as well. Pretty darn good performances throughout. Some mediocre ones, which you're always going to have. I didn't think there was like a really poor one, to be honest with you. I thought it was overall pretty darn good defensively and on the ball as well. When we were attacking, it wasn't just possession for the sake of possession. I felt the ball was moving a lot faster, which obviously results in being able to create more. Imagine that. So I think that was like an upgrade as well. Ryan says it was devastating. It was tough to watch. It was definitely tough to watch. You were on the high at the time. We're 1-0. But we were talking to George like before we went on air over there. He was going to join us shortly to talk about the foundation. It's almost like even when we were up, we're kind of like almost anticipating something bad to happen. This was the bad thing that happened in some ways, but I was expecting, something bad is going to happen, and it was not good. They did keep talking about the conditions, even after in the post-match interviews. They did talk about it. It is a tough place to go. They had not lost at home all season. So they were undefeated at home. So we did the first thing. I loved where I'm in a couple of WhatsApp chats where it's like a slot odds hate machine. So there was a lot of people who were just like, Sunderland was not at it, or Sunderland was on a bad day and stuff like that. Anything to not give our boys credit, it feels like sometimes. But I thought they did really well. We did kind of dominate the game, and they did not have. Look, we played like this in the past. Doesn't matter how good the other team was. We kind of dominated possession, and we did stuff with it, more importantly. So, do I think Rio says, good morning, sir? Josh is in the house. That That is a worry for Spurs. I could not believe Sean Dyche, who I call Sean Douche, got fired, by the way. That was a shocker one. Come on, man. We are meant to win every week. Yes, we should be. I'm not getting carried away, but you have to admit, all the slot out flags were at half mast yesterday, which is the biggest joy I get out of this. But they had to lower the flags until not in that WhatsApp chats. They're waving that flag very happily at all times. Where players go down like they were shot a lot worse. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it really felt bad, man. That felt bad. You could feel his pain, and that doesn't always happen, right? And not physical pain, but you could feel his emotional pain. Not a good thing at all. Not a good thing at all. I don't know about Rio starting in the FA Cup. Possible, I guess. Do we really want to go club style with a lot of backups that game? I don't really think so, but I actually expect the same lineup to go out there. Maybe Jones is right back, or maybe Ramsey will be back. Everybody treats maybe Ramsey like the way you go online, people bitching after a win, which is shocking to me. Well, I shouldn't be shocked anymore, but anyway, people bitching about Ramsey like he's like Cafu or something. Like nobody has seen this guy in months. But I think we've seen him a total of 5 times, and everybody's like, "How come he didn't play? How come Endo played and stuff?" It is just like we can't be happy. This is why we can't have nice things, people, because people cannot be happy. I'll be slide out if he plays any senior players. See, I disagree to that because I think it's one. You have 2 things left to win, and one of them is the FA Cup. So I say you go out strong. You don't treat it like a Mickey Mouse. I consider the League Cup the Mickey Mouse Cup. I don't consider the FA Cup the Mickey Mouse Cup personally. And I know like in the UK, FA Cup is always rated just historically, it means a lot more and stuff like that compared to the League Cup. So even though I hold them equal, like normally I wouldn't care. If you were going for the league title, I would call it Mickey Mouse Cup perhaps. So Abdurrahim, you're asking this daily, man, and it's not, the answer is not changing. Anybody who's saying FSG out is really pretty clueless. And I would love them to know which ownership they look at and say, that's what we want. Either you want a country, like City, and the country who gets money. Let's not go into the politics part of it, but I think we all know. So you want that, or I don't know who you want. Like, which ownership do you look at and be like, oh, I wish we had that? So the FSG out people, really go get a clue. This is probably not the show for you. The slot out people, I'm still slot in just because I don't want an interim manager and I don't see a better alternative right now. So we need Turkish. You trust me, you do not want Turkish owners, bro. That's the worst thing you can get. Like, yeah, you do not want Turkish owners because that's a true shit show. Take the logo badge history out of it, and then it comes down to players' current form and key moments and matches. Within reason, any club can beat any club with the right effort and mentality. And I think that's why the cup games are fine and everything. But like I say, if you were going for the Premier League title, I could not care less about this weekend. I'll admit. I'll be like, if you win it, we win it. If you don't, we don't. That was kind of like in the Klopp era too, right? You throw the backups out there. If they do well, they do well, which they normally did not, because when you change 8, 9 guys, there's a lot of disconnect, obviously, on the pitch. But since we don't have a league title, there's 2 things you can win. The Champions League, which I predicted we will win, so you don't have to worry about that. But the other thing is the FA Cup. So why not go all for it over here? Ramsey doesn't play at all, then I'll be calling Ramsey has no future at Liverpool. Ramsey does not have a future at Liverpool, I think, either way, to be honest with you. I will convince you right now. And aside from being right back, the only people who say Ramsey, because we haven't seen him play in months, and when we did him in the past, he was not that impressive. We were like, he's not ready yet, right? We said he's not ready yet. And I know this was like 2 seasons ago or whatever. But the only reason is people playing Football Manager, there's an opening on right back. They look at the squad, whoever is RB next to their name, they're putting him over there. So that's Ramsey is the GOAT, says Abdur. Yes, he is. We just don't know it. The fans know it, but people who are at the practice pitch every day, I guess they're blind. They don't see how good he is. So we'll go with that. I bet with my wallet. Bob, you know what? I didn't, but now that you said that, I'm gonna freaking do it. Just for spite, Bob. I'm gonna go bet now. See if I win anything. Probably won't, but I actually sometimes I do parlay bets. I really feel like there should be something for parlay bets when you get everything wrong. Like there should be like a consolation prize of some sort and be like, you know what, man, you really sucked. Here you go. At least your money back or something like that. Because I've done some parlay bets where every single one is wrong somehow. Ramsey had 4 loans, and the most appearances he made for a single club is 8. He's trash, says Scotty. I mean, I don't even know if he's trash. I really don't know. But apparently, people on social media must be like peeking through the chain link fence or something, watching practice because they seem to know and they seem to want him to play and everything. So I don't know. I thought Ando, and look, you have one less option now, right? Ando is not there, so you might be down to your like 5th or 6th option over here for the next 2 games. I can see him playing in the FA Cup, just because 1 is the FA Cup. 2, these guys just played Wednesday. It will be more people out there with fresh legs, but I'm not sure if I don't know if I want to line up out there with like all backups, which I don't think you can right now. We're not that deep, so I don't think you can make a starting 11 with all backups. But one thing I would not probably want is, in an FA Cup game, have Joe out there and have all our 3 healthy center backs on the pitch at the same time in an FA Cup game. I don't know if I'm going to be a big fan of that if I see it online, but okay. Let's see. I was going to say I was talking about that earlier. The whole Sean Dyche thing, I was not too thrilled with because I don't want the new manager smell on Forest over there. 1, they play Fenerbahce now first, mind you, midweek on Thursday, and then we're going to play against them. So I guess not this weekend, but next week on Thursday, they go away to Istanbul and play Fenerbahce, and then on the weekend, they play us on Sunday. So really did not want the new manager smell there in those 2 games back to back. But I think we have this was a huge away win, man. I think, people are kind of like working so hard on poo-pooing it. I think normally like this is a huge win. These guys had not lost at home. We go out there, get a win, and a convincing win too. This is not like we struggle all game and then get like a lucky goal or something. We like pretty much dominated that one. That's another thing. Like Ramsey is injury prone. I mean that's a problem. But that's the requirement to be a right back at Liverpool. You have to be injury prone. So he qualifies in that sense. But that's another thing. I don't think he's a long-term solution. That's why I always felt about like Bradley. I know this was like a totally freak injury, but relying on Bradley all season was not going to happen. I didn't expect Frimpong to be injured this often. Either he's coming back before he's fully ready or his body is still adjusting to the Premier League. But Reece Williams, yes, I remember Reece Williams. Let's not put him at right back. I don't know. Curtis Jones, which I was expecting yesterday to see at right back. So now that we eliminated another potential with Ando injury, I can see maybe Curtis Jones starting at right back over there. But yeah, huge win at the end of the day. Should be very thrilled about it. I'll be on tomorrow morning with Kazi. Want to see his take because I know he was extremely happy about it and he was really gutted about Endo when we were chatting on Discord. But I think there were a lot of positives to take away from this game, not only the win. And I was really worried that, when is Soboslai? Isn't he getting 3 games? How many games did he get at the end? Because I thought it would be 3 and we would vie and it would go back to 2. But that only Premier League? So can he play in the FA Cup game? Because if he's back, I think Bob is right, and that's 2 days in a 1 game. Really? Yeah. If it is 1 game, I'll take your word for it, Bob. After yesterday, I'm going to trust you one more day that you're accurate over here. But yeah, if it's 1 game, then yeah, it is kind of a no-brainer, right? He will probably be playing right back this weekend, especially he's rested, and then we don't play again for 8 days. So it's not like you're worried about that. I think you go out there. That's why, like, initially everybody was like, oh, he's out for 3 games now. And I was like, that's not violent conduct. He just pulled a jersey. That I wish they freaking let him play anyway. But yeah, I was hoping it would be, if anything, I figured it would be lowered when we appeal it. But okay, I'm glad it's like 1 game over there. Curtis Jones has been Liverpool first and foremost, hasn't done it. See, that's so unfair on Curtis Jones. I think, first of all, I'm never big on like holding our players' names, by the way, Abdurrahim, but still, I I think he is very underrated, and I was one of his bigger critics when he first came to the scene because he was playing like he's on the Brazil national team, and there's a reason those Brazil national teams were not winning because they were more about fancy than winning. I thought when he first came aboard, that's what he was doing. Since then, I think he's been like he's really developed his game. You look at it yesterday. The only odd thing yesterday is if you look at the end of the game, and we talk about having control and stuff. Curtis Jones and McAllister were playing a different game than Wirtz was up top. Like, whereas those two are more about control and keeping the ball, slowing things down, playing it back, recycling it and stuff. And Wirtz is so attack minded, he's like, let's go. Like when he gets the ball and they're going after like another goal. And it was almost like they're pulling different ways. I'm like, this is why it's not working. I really like Jones in that role where he can kind of control the ball with his moves. He can create himself space, play it to somebody who's wide open, and we keep possession instead of trying like a through ball and trying a fancy move. He did do a fancy move, mind you, but it was successful. So Richard Hughes is wanted by Al Hilal. Al Hilal trying to buy the world. I have no idea. I'm sure. I mean, this is not newsflash that Saudis are offering him crazy wages. That's the norm over there is crazy wages. But yeah, I don't I don't know. Is that like a career like Richard Hughes? Like I don't understand. Like, do you really need first of all, do you really need a general manager if you're a Saudi club? You're like, oh, I don't know, give him 2 gallons of oil and bring his ass over here. If somebody's willing to go over there, they can buy anyone in terms of finances. So it's not like, oh, we need to go scout or something like that. They have all the money in the world. So I don't know why they would invest high wages. And if they did, I think they would bring a bigger name that's currently seen as more successful. If they brought Richard Hughes in, I don't know, September, you'd be like, yes, this guy knows how to go get big players with money or something like that. But right now, I don't know why they would bring him. Jimbo, good morning. Well, good afternoon for you. Good morning for us. Okay, let's get to the main event over here because I do want to give as much time as possible because these are the things that I really value and I want, our channel to mainly focus on. So actually, this is kind of like a cry out to you guys too. Anytime you guys come across, whether it's your supporter clubs or hey, something local. I really don't care how small it is, how big it is. If you want to spread the words on a foundation, fundraising effort, whatever it is, do send us a message and then we'll try to do our best, maybe share it in socials or whatever we can do to get the word out over there because there's only so much bitching you can do about players and performances. I would like to use our powers for the good over here. And we do it every year, obviously, with the 23 Foundation. Pretty much everybody in here has been a huge help the last few years when we've done it. Like I say, in 2024, we sent them like $5,000. Last year, we even beat that. So obviously, we were in New York. We will do it again this year. It will be sometime in September, hopefully in New York again. So we'll get more details as we go. As you guys might have heard during the conversations, Jasmine is getting married in Milwaukee. There'll be a bunch of like American Scouts or people there mid-August. So based on that, we won't probably do end of August for the New York trip, but more of like a September. We want to do like a league game ideally if we can, but we got to talk to the folks at Carragher's and see if they will do the same mistake twice and host us in the corner over there. So we'll see about that. But today, I had mentioned this a few times on air, especially on the Monday Night Podcast, the 4 Steps websites. I sent it over there. But I do want to bring on George from the foundation to tell us more about it because obviously nobody wants to listen to me anyway. So we're glad to listen to George. George, good morning, sir. Welcome aboard.
Good morning, Temujin, and thank you for having me.
No, it's our pleasure, man. Like I say, anything we can do in aiding, and this is not. I do want to underline, and I'm sure you'll talk about it as well. This is not really a fundraising effort. We are not. This morning, the main goal is not like asking for like funds or donations or anything like that. That's not what we're asking for. We actually want to see if you know somebody that you feel like could be nominated to kind of like benefits what the foundation is doing and stuff. So I want to underline that down the road. I know we were talking, George. You were hoping to make this even bigger and get more people, but I'll kind of like let you talk about how this came about and everything so people hear about it as well.
All right. So just simply stated, for Steph's sake, our mission is to send a big diehard Liverpool fan to Anfield for a VIP experience once a year. Somebody that's faced serious illness, and that's our mission stated simply. And this is a story that's 20 years in the making, so it goes back a while. I've been a Liverpool fan for about 50 years. I was just doing the math this morning, since 1976. So really honored to follow the Reds, and be fortunate to do a few games at Anfield. But in any event, the genesis of this story is professionally through my old job business. I met somebody in Washington, D.C., who served on a trade association, and she was a young woman, mid-30s, that was a diehard British football fan, which 20 years ago, maybe not a big deal, but I didn't know, in my radar anyway, I didn't know a lot of British football fans, female football fans to start with. And unfortunately, she contracted colon cancer and was treated. She had chemotherapy, and then when she was in this phase of remission, I met up with her at an event in New York, and she was saying, it was at this cocktail event, she was saying, I'm not feeling too great, and she went back to her hotel. And I decided, I talked to her boss, the executive director at the association, and I said, you know what, we should all throw some money in a hat and take her over to England to see a game, because she'd never been before, and I thought it'd be a nice thing just to do for her. So he agreed, and we all threw a few $100s in a hat, and I was fortunate to go over with her. Now, I should qualify, she was a big fan of the evil empire, as in Manchester United, which that's the long rivalry, but we always had banter, me, Liverpool, her, Man United. So there was a compromise. We took her over to go see a game at Old Trafford, but also to Anfield, and then on to Craven Cottage in London. But anyway, it was just it was a dream experience for her. We went to Old Trafford, saw a game, went on to Anfield. This was just after they won the Miracle of Istanbul. So it was just after they won the Champions League. I went to go see a game at Anfield midweek, and then we finished off on the weekend seeing a game in London. And she just came home just glowing, and this was like a phenomenal experience for her. And sadly, the cancer came back within a year, and she passed on. So she didn't survive this. But this left a lifelong memory with her. And so much that we did stadium tours at all of the sites that we visited, and in the end, her dying wish was to have her ashes sprinkled on the turf back in England. So that's actually what happened. And anyway, so it was just a special thing to do, and I thought, okay, maybe one day we can do something with this. But then I didn't do anything. And the next story is about 10 years later. I'm doing it's something called the Camino in northern Spain. It's a long pilgrimage people have done for centuries. You can do it from France, or you can do it from different parts of Spain. And you can choose whether you walk for 30 days or 5 or 6 days. So I chose a short distance. But as we're walking through the mountains, a good friend of mine, we're walking through the mountains, and it was the 10th anniversary of her passing. And, I just told him the story, and he just stopped in his tracks, on a gravel road in the mountains. He just stopped there and he said, wow, what a special thing you could do. And I'm sure that brings you a lot of satisfaction. And I said, yeah. But I was thinking, I've always thought we should do something to honor her memory. And he said, yeah. And we continue walking, and we don't even walk another 150 yards when we stop at a signpost. And I had been along the way, what could we call this thing? And I was thinking, let me think, Spirit of Stephanie, maybe, SOS. It's an easy thing to remember and all that. And we stopped in the road, not even 5 minutes later, 150 yards down the road, and written in the gravel is SOS, as if divine, intervention.
Wow.
Is we walked like 135 kilometers, and nowhere did we see that written anywhere, graffiti or anywhere. It was there in the gravel. So it's kind of like she was speaking from wherever she was, and sort of saying, yeah, encouragement. And so I didn't do much about it. And then just before COVID, I got on a Zoom call with a few friends, and I said, hey, how about this idea? And everybody said, yeah, good idea. And then COVID hits. So it goes. So then fast forward to last year, I go with my oldest son to go see a game at Anfield. And we were just lucky enough to end up at the Tottenham Hotspur game, which was like the game, the league winning game. So it was an amazing experience. But the day before the match, we're at the stadium to try and do the stadium tour and see the new stand and what have you. And in the area, the box office area, there's a gentleman wearing a t-shirt from Boca Raton, Florida, which is a city we live in. And I'm saying, what, what are you doing here? You're quite a ways from home. And he said, yes. He said, 2 years ago, I was in a hospital bed and I was being treated for cancer. And, I said to my wife, if I survive this, I'm going to Anfield and I'm going to go see Liverpool play. And that's how we coincided. So after that encounter, I said, okay, I mean, how many times do we have to manifest itself to do? And so finally, toward the end of last year, I said, okay, let's just get this going. I thought of using SOS, but of course, the Spirit of Shankly is a big movement in the UK as well, and we didn't want to use a name that somebody may take offense to or that's already been used. So that's where we just came up with a simple name of For Steph's Sake. And again, a simple premise. We want to take somebody like her that suffered a life-threatening illness, take them over to the UK, take them to see a Liverpool game, make it a special experience and something they'll hopefully remember for a long time. And that's it. And we, I just reached out to family and friends. So fortunately, to your point, we are funded. So we're not doing a fundraising drive. We're fully funded. And thanks to a bunch of contributors. So our main thing now is getting the word out and just getting nominations. So we're really inviting everybody to participate by, yes, you can share the website and our social media links, but the main thing is just trying to get the word out. So people, if you can think of somebody in that circumstance or has suffered an illness in their in the recent past, and they're an adult, of course, and they can travel, we want to honor Steph's memory by taking somebody over and do at least one person a year. And if we can, if the fundraising is successful over time, why not take more people, sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like an awesome initiative, really. And I think, I would put the link over there where you can go nominate, but obviously it's the website so you can read more about the story. There's like a nice video about it as well. And I just want to underline, because I saw this is on the nominate page as well, but I mean, you necessarily ultimately are not asking for like too many details, but a story about why you feel somebody deserves it. It's not like, you got to submit like private, like, confidential paperwork or something like that. It's somebody that you nominate that you feel like has a story similar to Steph that would qualify for it.
Correct. And the thing is, there's also things, there's HIPAA compliance, medical records really are only shared with, with people's, authorization. So we have to be mindful of that. And we want to respect that. And and we're relying on the people nominating, and using their good judgment of who they can think of to put a name down.
Has it been a challenge to get the word out? I mean, it's something so nice. I would have thought, it would have been a lot easier to. Then again, I say that, but we've been trying to set this up for like 3 or 4 weeks now. But I felt like, I think that's partially because I felt like, we had time, so it was trying to find like a really good time, a positive time to do this. But
Sure.
Has it been a challenge to get the word out?
The short answer is yes, because I started reaching out to all the supporters clubs around the country through Instagram, connecting through social media platforms and trying to message them either through social media or going on the websites and getting, information links and that sort of thing. And so I sent it out to a lot of people, but I'm sure everybody's inbox is flooded with information and requests. And at first glance, people could look at this and say, oh, another fundraiser. We've got enough on our plate. We're focused something else. So I think that may be part of the challenge. People don't fully understand what we're doing. People think we're asking for money, maybe. So what we're trying to do is just really communicate, nominate, and bold _ nominate. So I'm also concentrating my efforts over the last few weeks, connecting at least locally here in Florida with all the supporters clubs here. And the next thing I'm going to do is literally I'm going to be showing up on weekends at some of the clubs and asking them to put a poster here with a QR code. Just put it up somewhere on a bulletin board or somewhere in the pubs, just so during game day, people have a chance to find out a little bit about it and maybe nominate there. So slowly I'll get around to making personal contact, that always helps if you can show up in person and when people start getting it. So I think, yeah, I think it's people understanding what we do. And then, for things to go viral on social media, you really need to populate it a lot. And we don't have a lot there. So we still need to get a good social media strategy together and get active with that. So that's in the pipeline. That's something we're working on now. So that'll happen. And yeah, but I think that's, really going through the community, if you will, i.e. the supporters clubs around the country. That's a first step. And of course, anytime we can get exposure through people such as yourselves, through American Scouser, that's phenomenal, right? And because there are a lot of worthy causes out there. There's over 1 million registered nonprofits in the United States alone. So, join the crowd of people. And there's cancer causes, and there's a lot of great causes, but ours is, laser focused. It's Liverpool, it's game day experience, and it's for somebody specifically that's a big fan and that would really value an experience like this.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. When we started talking, I was under the impression initially when we started talking that it was like a fundraising effort, and I was excited. I was like, "Oh, great!" Because we're looking for something else to do. Like,
Sure.
I don't want to say off season, but we do the foundation one in fall. But you were like, "No, no, no, we don't want fundraising. We just want to get the word out." And I was like, "Oh, that's even easier. Like, we can definitely do that." And I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, I know in this chat right here, for example, Alan is in Houston. Ryan is in Oregon. Obviously, we have some people across the pond as well who probably have. I mean, because obviously this is worldwide. It could be anybody, not necessarily somebody in the U.S. or anything like that, right? It's more global, or are you focusing on candidates from the U.S.?
I would say for now, I mean, in terms of, well, as you can see, the genesis of getting the word out on something like this, even at a local level, it takes work,
Yeah.
and there's
Mhm.
grassroots efforts that we have to do. So we would be quite happy if within this year we can just get on the radar in North America, never mind internationally. So if you ask me long term, absolutely. I think this can be global and we can draw fans and a fan base that adds up to tens of millions of people around the world. So I'd love that. But I think in terms of capacity, because this isn't a full-time job for me, or we don't really have a full-time person, and it's a very small cause. So I think our goal, if you will, is to stake our claim. Our flag in the ground will be here. We'll start in North America and then see how the cause where that takes us. But there's no bias. There's no limitation on who we want to reach. Really, it's just how can we manage this, and it's going to be a journey. We're just going to go
Yeah.
step by step where it takes us, right?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, as American Scouser, we'll do our best to spread the word, like on our socials and everything. For one, I mean, obviously, we're doing this, and we'll basically get a lot of clips out of this and the video by itself. But aside from that, I mean, we do work with a lot of like supporter clubs that work closely with us, and we're kind of like, I have like a good relationship with like a lot of presidents, so I'll try to get the word out as much as possible as well for those guys to. I think with supporter clubs sometimes it's tricky. I just know from like when we do the 23 Foundation, especially fundraising efforts, and you're right, they probably see that in their inbox. They're like, here we go, somebody else asking for like us to raise funds, kind of like when we do for the 23 Foundation one. But I think if once they realize it's not really a fundraising effort, I think it will be a lot easier to spread, because I think everybody does their own fundraising efforts. And obviously they have like a select pool of people, so they want to maximize their own. I think they kind of, it's not that they don't want to help other foundations. I think it's just a matter that they want to make sure they're not taken away from theirs. But once they realize it's not like a fundraising effort, it's just a matter of like getting the word out. I don't see why they do not, because I know like Alan, for example, does the newsletter for like the Houston group and stuff like that. So little mentions here and there, I'm sure can go a long way over there. So what is your ideal vision? I know we kind of like chatted about this a while back on the phone in terms of like down the road, but like in a dream world, where does George see this thing in, like, I don't know, like 5 to 10 years?
Well, imagine, to your point of view, going global. Imagine if you could get a couple of people from every continent, and you have 12 or 15 people that are there once a year that all have this experience in common. They're all big Liverpool fans. They've all had near-death experiences or serious illnesses they've had to navigate. Imagine that, what a beautiful story, sort of thing. If in the next 10 years we can send 10 people, that's 10 lives maybe that we change or for the better, and inspire other people to find ways to step up. If we could take a couple of hundred people over the next 10 years, even better sort of thing. So I think the sky's the limit, to the extent that everybody joins in and people see the value of this, because again, I know I've had 3 solicitations in the last week from different nonprofits, can you make a contribution in that? And, everybody's looking for something, and there are a lot of good causes out there. So this is very unique in that way. And again, I think this is just another way where you bring, she was with a rival team of ours. She was with the with the arch enemy, common, our passion and our love for football and the joy for football, right? And she enjoyed that Champions League game at Anfield as much as any game, and she became, she described how she had Reds in her blood after that trip, and that it was a you know what I mean? She couldn't deny that. And so if it's strictly a Liverpool experience, which is the way we're planning it, what a great way to bring community together and global community and just have, something unique experience like that. This person that I met at the stadium tour, he ended up meeting Phil Thompson because somebody heard the story and they took him close to pitch side. And after the Tottenham game, Phil Thompson came over to him, shook his hand and acknowledged him in that. So he was, that was wow, next
Yeah.
level experience. So, and I'm sure he'll be talking to his grandchildren about that one day.
I think it's weird because, like, when you're saying it, if you think about it, if you told this to someone who's not a football fan, they might not, or a sports fan, they might not appreciate how cool of an event this is and how emotional it can be for somebody to, like, it's a huge, it's probably for most people it's not on the towards the top of their bucket list, and helping somebody be able to do that, they were like, oh, taking them to a game. But we all know, because we're kind of like so into this, that it's something like really, really special, especially for somebody like over here. Just make it's not like just going to like a game, it's like making the trip and all that kind of stuff. There's so many expenses to it to be able to go to a game at Anfield, and especially like with the challenges that you probably already have due to health issues and all that. So it's such a huge gift, and I think you have to be a football fan or a Liverpool fan to really understand how big of a gift it is and how much it can really mean. It's not like, oh, let's take him to a game, but it's kind of like knocking something towards the top of their bucket list, if not on the top of their bucket list. So yeah, it is a
Right.
really cool initiative. And I think as the word gets out, yeah, I don't see why not make it even bigger. But we'll start where we can over here, get the word across North America. Mind you, I mean, like I say, we have a lot of like international fans in our chat, especially on the morning show. Anybody in the chat regularly knows Kevin is out of New Zealand. We have people in Germany and stuff like that. So it'll be easier to get the word out in that sense too once it gets going. But so if you have any questions for George, throw it in the chats, because I would like to, if we're forgetting something that somebody might have as a question, I don't want to include that when we publish the clips, and then we'll probably like edit it, so we just put this interview in there as a separate video and everything as well. But the most important question, George, that you might or might not get, not about the foundation, is everybody's going to ask you if you're slot in or slot out.
I think football management in the EPL is almost fickle now.
Yeah.
Look how quickly they're firing managers. So I look at it more long term. I'd rather go long and give them a chance. And I mean, for goodness sake, we just won the league title last year, and you don't go from hero to zero overnight. I think the players need to shoulder some responsibility. There's been big changes, big transition in the squad, and key players, not to mention losing Jota, which, I don't think any of us understand the psychological effect that could have on the players. So I think there's been a lot of adversity, but I still believe in this team. I think like everybody that does it supports it. And I wouldn't put 100% of the responsibility on the manager personally. So I'm more of a slot in, if you ask me, for now.
Ronda, we're gonna get along great. Not with some of these guys in the chat, but we're gonna get along great. Football Flashback says, "How did you become a Liverpool fan?" Because I know you gave the year. Tony was saying, I think somebody in the chat was saying there. Oh, Jimbo was saying since 1976, fans
So,
since
yeah.
1977. How did you come
So
about becoming a Reds fan?
So at the time I was living in South Africa, I spent part of my youth. I was born in Canada, but I spent part of my youth in South Africa and Spain, and then back to Canada, and then to the States. But at the time, I was still in grade school, and two brothers emigrated from Liverpool to South Africa with their mother, and um, that's all they could talk about. You couldn't talk to them about anything other than Liverpool because that's all they talked about. And they had these albums with all the clippings, newspaper clippings of Shankly at the time and Keegan and all the star players and the trophies they started winning because in the early 70s they really started getting on a good trajectory as far as winning leagues and trophies. So this is all they could talk about. I mean, and they were good players as well. So in the school soccer team, it was good playing with them. And that was it. It's kind of like I supported a local team, but this was much larger then, and thinking, and the way they talked about it. And anyway, so that was that, and I just started following, and then I moved to Spain a year later, moved to Spain, and then was following them from Spain my father used to send. Back then there was a magazine called Shoot, a football magazine called Shoot, where they had everything came out every week, and my dad would collect them all and mail them to me in Spain, and I'd consume anything and everything to do with Liverpool. So yeah, so that's how it goes back. And then the first time I was fortunate to ever see them play, they did an exhibition game in Swaziland, which is a homeland contained in the territory of South Africa, if you will. And they went and did an exhibition game with Tottenham Hotspur in 1982. And so I drove down from where I lived to go and see them. And there were probably maybe 5,000 fans there. But honestly, when they started singing, it felt like there were 50,000. That was one thing that struck me, that first experience. So to go back to your point about imagine going to, Anfield, imagine 60,000 people chanting and singing in unison. It's hair raising. It's something, that if somebody hasn't experienced, surely that's going to be something that moves them. So anyway,
Favorite player says, by the way, football flashback, because you're old school. So where are you? Because I was asked this in an interview in a podcast with Gary. He was asking me, and I was like, man, over time, I think it has changed. But yeah, I'd love to hear who your favorite player is.
I'd probably have to say Kenny Dalglish.
Okay.
What a player, what a man, just in every sense, and the way he's been honored, his legacy. And yeah, so I'd probably have to say him. There's been phenomenal players over the years, but I'd have to probably say him. And he just came on the scene, soon after I started supporting Liverpool. The greatest loss was Keegan. You were thinking, what are we going to do? And Dalglish steps in, and the rest is history.
I think, yeah. Do you think, because I feel like Douglas too, I was like, if we went recent, I would probably say like Bobby, for example. But, Douglas was my first, like, oh, I love this dude's play. But I really feel like what he has done afterwards has only like just elevated what he did as a player. Because especially as a kid and stuff, I think you're just looking at the player and stuff. But as you get older, you're also looking at the person behind the player and seeing that almost somehow is even better than the player you watched and admired. I think it kind of puts him to the pinnacle for most, especially, people who are older.
Yeah. No, and I think the thing is, I was recently watching some podcasts with him, and what really strikes about him is just he's such a humble man, his
Yeah.
humility. Despite everything he's accomplished, he's humble, he's grounded, and he's just a great ambassador for the club.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Like you look at him and you're proud to say he's a Liverpool player. Like like how he carries himself, like on and off the pitch and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, it's been like growing up watching him was a joy as a player. But then afterwards, like his manager, the whole Hillsborough, how he's handled certain things, you look at it and you're like, he's like I say, his status gets more and more elevated from just being a great player on the pitch. Like I don't know, like I say, I said Bobby. I know 10 years from now, I don't know if we'll know more or learn more or admire Bobby more. I just watched him as a player. But like somebody like Doug Leash, I think we saw him afterwards just get more and more elevated, like go up the ranks of like, being like a club legend forever. Some people like just stay as players as a legend. I feel like
Yeah.
he has been a personality as a legend as well.
Yeah.
Um, the chat went all over the place over there. Yeah, Kenny was a replacement for Keegan. I mean, yeah, Rush as well. I mean, like growing up watching that, watching Rush, I always go back to like that dude could smell goals. They were not always wonder goals. They always look like, oh, they're like simple tap ins or like 1v1s and stuff. But if somebody had to be there, he was always there to put the ball in the nets. I mean, it was just like an amazing player to watch. But George, thanks a lot for your time. Like I say, we'll do our best to get the word out, and I'll forward any questions I get to you as well. But if you're in the chat right now, please, I do send the link. More importantly, if you have somebody going and nominate, but more importantly, like George has been saying, our main goal right now is to spread the word as much as possible and hopefully make this thing even bigger down the road.
Yeah. And I would just say thank you so much again for giving us this opportunity. And I would just say, look, and I've stated this on the website, we put it there. If you're in doubt about whether the person qualifies or not, err on the side of nominating. Just nominate. You know what I mean? And we've got a committee of 5 people. Let us decide if they're the best fit. But rather do that than not nominate. If there's an inkling in your mind of somebody, you know what, maybe this person, just go ahead and nominate. You know, you
And
could
I would assume, I wanted to ask that, just popped in my head as you were saying that, if people, they might not know, like I have somebody in my mind, I know a little bit, but not full details. Can they still nominate him? And then would you guys reach out for more information, or how does that work? Because obviously, it's not something that you want to ask people about specifics about their medical condition and stuff. You might know the gist of it and nominate him. And I assume you guys will reach out to him somehow, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we have a nominating committee of 5. Some people that are level-headed people with good judgment, and people with integrity that I've, asked to join this committee. And that's what we'll do, is we'll review nominations and then reach out to a short list of who we feel best fit the criteria, and then have a conversation without being intrusive and invasive about it. Yeah, so that's the way the process will work. Yeah.
Awesome. George, thanks a lot as always. I mean, yeah, we really appreciate you reaching out to us, because this is like really what I kind of like cherish this whole community on. I mean, we built like an awesome community, aside from arguing about like homegrown players. We bitch and complain and get each other's nerves about slots or FSG or players and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, really this community comes together when we do any fundraising effort or anything like this. So I'm confident that we'll be able to be a huge help and get the word out for you.
You'll never walk alone.
Thanks a lot, George. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, well, you heard the man. I do hope really that we spread the word as much as possible. I will like try to reach out as well to all the like the supporter club, like the presidents that I'm in contact with on Facebook and stuff like that, and see how they get. That's a good question, actually. Football flashback. I almost did not want to. I had that question in mind. I almost did not want to ask, because I'm afraid it will deter some people from nominating others, because if they are, but this is definitely a good question that I will ask and get answered over here. Can it be children if they're accompanied by their parents? I would assume so, but I don't want to speak on the foundation's behalf. That is a good question to get answered, to be honest with you. But in terms of like the number of nominees, I would be afraid that if you have somebody in mind and you're like, oh, if they already have 1,000 people, I'm not going to nominate. And I think the goal now is to get as many nominations as possible to get the word out, because down the road, I mean, I know when we initially talked with George, like I say, I was first excited. I thought we were going to fundraise for him, but then he said, no, we had the fundraising, we just need to get the word out. And I was like, oh, okay. But down the road, they are hoping to do maybe like 2 people, 3 people, and like he was saying, maybe go more global as things get bigger, because it's all a good deed at the end. The bigger the good deeds, the better. And honestly, yes, we can still talk about slots. We can still talk about slot, but you can only talk so much about slots. I mean, the whole point of doing this, the whole joy of doing this is the community it has built more than anything else. Even if I'm yelling at Bob every morning, whatever it is, it's just the community we've kind of like put together, and that's what I want. And I have made some great contacts over the years doing this. I mean, not great contacts and like, they can get me into like games and concerts or something, but great contacts in terms of people like that I've formed like great friendships with, great conversation with. Some real big, some like just like like just an ordinary dude who's a fan in like middle of another state or whatever. But that's what I enjoy about this too. So yes, I would love to. I would love to hear more about my workout routine as well. Oh yeah, my gut would love to learn more about my workout routine as well. But I actually, you know what? Um, okay, first of all, if you want to be more fit, you don't want to find out about my workout routine. But I am actually, yeah, I have started with the birthday the other day. I have turned a new leaf, and it's not like leaf like grape leaves and like a dolma this time, the totally different leaf where trying to watch. We started walking again, we'll start jogging and stuff again, because obviously the refereeing season is coming up, and I don't want to be that fat guy rolling around the pitch. I want to be doing a proper job, whatever it is. Youth soccer, I hated it when my girls played and they had this like fat slob in the middle who would not get out of the middle circle, so called a really bad game. So don't want to be that guy. Nobody wants to be that guy. Okay, this was a really, I kind of wanted to come in and gloat about the Sunderland win, but more importantly, give Georgia a platform so we can kind of edit as well and publish as separate videos to get the word out. That was the goal. Watch the slot out flag at half mast and kind of like take some joy in that. Until Saturday, they'll try to put the flag up on Saturday. So hopefully we'll get another win in the FA Cup this Saturday as well. But thanks to all those joining us this morning. Please, please, please help spread the words. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning with Kazi. And we'll see if he's more positive now. It takes a lot. So, but we'll see if that happens. Have a great, great day, everybody. Thanks a lot for showing up. Spread the words, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, actually, you know what? Don't forget, the Bolt crew might be back on, because I think Maka is back from his injuries. So I don't know if he still has the same number of ribs he had before, but either way, he will be. The Bolt crew might be on today. We'll announce it on the socials, the regular time. So do tune in for that. And love your shows. Please don't end the I don't know about that. This is ending, that's for sure. But have a great, great day, everybody, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.